Listen, before we even get deep into this, let me give a quick salute to the real ones. Us Knicks fans who got an eye for the details. Because while everybody else been scrolling through the preseason box scores acting like it don't mean nothing, we've been peeped what I'm about to say. We've seen how Mikal Bridges been moving, y'all. How comfortable he looks in this new flow that Mike Brown is building. How natural the fit is. Like he's been playing in this system his whole life. It ain't just the points. It's the feel that he has for this new system. The pace, the reads, the spacing. It's hitting different right now. You could see it from game 1 of preseason, actually. Mikal Bridges don't look like a guy learning a new offense. He look like a dude who's been waiting for this one. That's why I gotta talk about this. Because before the season even, the tip-off even begins, you can already feel the shift taking place. His body language, the rhythm, the confidence. This ain't some give him time type ish. This one is instant. Mike Brown got a new toy, and Mikal Bridges just found the system that unlocks his whole bag. So yeah, before the national media start acting like they discovered something new in December, just know we called it here first. We saw the connection early, and now it's time to break down why this thing's about to take off right here in Knicks Deli, baby. Knicks Deli Edition, baby. I want to welcome you all back. Let me talk to y'all real quick because I've been sitting on this thought since the Summer League. And you've seen it come clear in preseason, since Media Day as well. Since the second Mike Brown actually walked into that gym, rocking a confident smirk like he already knew what time it was. Everybody want to talk about Brunson, and yeah, it's cap. Brunson's that dude. No question about it. But if you paying attention, if you really watching how this team's moving, you can see it clear as a J train on an empty track. This is the year Mikal Bridges is going to take off. This is the year that this cat stands out amongst the rest. Not just as a role player though. Not just as a 3-and-D piece that we've played him in the past, but as a weapon for us. A legit two-way problem that Mike Brown's system was built to unleash. Now, before I even dive into the X's and O's, let me set the tone for y'all. Mikal ain't new to the city, but this version of him, he's about to get real comfortable with real fast. The MSG lights ain't just for the stars. It's where grinders evolve into legends. And the city been waiting for somebody who embodies that blue-collar defense with a little smooth in their step. Mikal Bridges, my boy, I call him the quarter water. Mikal Bridges, 6'6", long arms. He's a quiet killer with energy. Talk that wild talk. Some people say Draymond, some people say Josh Hart, but the way he moves on the court, it speaks volumes. You watch him play one game and you see it. That defensive stand, that wingspan, swallows up shooters, transition. But now, Mike Brown is going to weaponize all that. People don't understand this. Mike Brown ain't just a defensive coach. He's a balanced coach. His whole system feeds on rhythm between defense and offense. It's almost like jazz, baby. Organized chaos that only works when everybody's in sync. And that's where Mikal fits perfectly. That's where this chemistry fits perfectly. When Mike Brown came in, everybody was talking about how different it was going to be from Tibbs. I'm a Tibbs fan. Tibbs was intensity. Tibbs was discipline. He was repetition. You knew where to be every second, every possession. He built soldiers. Mike Brown, he builds orchestras. Discipline with freedom though. Still structured but with creativity baked in. He gives players space to breathe, to read the game, to make the next play off of instinct instead of just automation. That's exactly what Mikal needed. Because in Brooklyn, he got a taste of being the guy. And he showed flashes, those 25, 30-point nights where he was hitting off of pull-ups, slashing off closeouts, getting buckets out of pure rhythm. But you could tell it was forced sometimes. Too much creation burden. Not enough movement around him. In Brown's system, that weight gets shared. Think about what Brown did in Golden State. The way he empowered wings to attack off flow, not sets. Think about Sacramento. He gave Fox the green light, but surrounded him with shooters and wings who could cut with purpose. That's where McCall's gonna thrive. Mike Brown sees McCall not just as a 3-and-D guy. He sees him as a connector. That dude who builds bridges in an offense. No pun intended. The gap between the backcourt and the front court, between the defense and the fast break. He's going to be the one who catches that outlet, scans and decides. We pushing or we setting up. And that's the type of defensive spark that starts everything. Now let me talk about the real secret sauce though. Defense. Because you can't understand McCall's offensive potential without talking about what he does on the other end. Mike Brown said it himself. He loves how McCall navigates screens, how he stays tight on shooters, how he can guard point of attack and the wings. That's huge in our system because Brown's defense is all about versatility. It ain't about just stopping one man, it's about chain reactions. When McCall locks up that first option, the rest of the defense can shift confidently. That trust turns into transition chances. That's when the offense starts. McCall contesting the shot, bringing the board, and boom, the Knicks are flying down the floor. We've seen it already in preseason. You know how many easy buckets that creates over 82 games? That's how the Kings got their pace. That's how the Warriors broke team spirits. McCall's presence allows Brown to gamble smart though. You can send help. You can trap early. You can rotate more aggressively because you know you got that dude who can recover, chase down, contest without fouling. That's momentum basketball. That's how defense becomes offense. And for this Knicks team that's been grinding in half-court sets for years, that's liberation for us. That's something the Garden hasn't seen since prime Starks and Mason. Wings playing defense like it's personal, then turning that into buckets the other way. Reading the floor, not just reacting. And here's what's wild. McCall's not just a slasher or a shooter anymore. His IQ's caught up to his tools. Watch that man play in preseason. He's reading rotations. He's calling out cuts, pointing guys into space. Brown noticed that. That's why he talked about McCall's screen navigation. He trusts his mind as much as his wingspan. Now on offense, that translates to decision making. McCall's starting to attack closeouts, not just to score, but to create. He'll draw two, swing to Brunson. Brunson hits Clarkson or Anunoby in the corner and then splash. That's Knicks basketball now in 2025. Everybody's eating. It emphasizes second side action, meaning if first set don't hit, the ball don't die. McCall becomes the reset button, the rhythm keeper. That's where he's gonna cook. Imagine McCall coming off of a pin down, catching at the elbow. Brunson cuts through. Bridges takes two dribbles, and now the defense gotta pick. Do you help off the corner shooter, or do you let him float that mid-range? Either way, pain is good. Brown trust changes everything in this system for McCall. The biggest difference this year ain't even on the stat sheet. It's the trust. Now you can tell Brown loves that McCall brings to what he brings to the table. He talked about putting him on players if he talked about putting him on Reggie Miller if he was still in the league. That's respect. He sees McCall as that type of player who don't just fit schemes, he defines them. And that's rare. You don't talk about a guy like that unless you plan to build around him in key moments. I've always said he reminds me of Chris Middleton or Rip Hamilton, and the Knicks need that second identity. Brunson's the engine, yes, but every team that contends got a second driver. A guy who can switch lanes, control tempo, make reads without disrupting the rhythm of the game. That's Mikal Bridges. He's like the metronome of the team. He's steady, he's reliable. He's capable of speeding up the beat when the moment calls for it. That calm, unshakable demeanor, it's gold in a locker room that's used to chaos. And then there's the MSG factor. Let's be real, not everybody's built for this stage. MSG doesn't just expose players. It either swallows you or it crowns you. But Mikal's built for it, especially with a squad around him. He doesn't need to scream to the crowd to get it lit. He lets his play do the talking. You ever see him lock down a scorer for 3 straight possessions and then calmly hit a transition 3? That's the type of stuff that makes the Garden hum. The city respects hustle, poise, and heart. And Mikal's got all 3. And yo, don't sleep. This fan base, we've been waiting for a two-way wing to believe in. We got 2 of them. Since Sprewell or early Iman Shumpert, that's when the defense felt like a statement. And Bridges can revive that spirit, him and OG. The chemistry on this team is already real. You watch the preseason 3-0, it ain't about the score. It's about the feel. You can see the camaraderie. Mikal and Brunson moving in sync. Anunoby finding his spots. Clarkson giving that instant energy. Everybody knows their role, but Mikal's like the connector tissue. He ties all those pieces together. When he defends the opposing star, Brunson can conserve energy. When he hits shots early, it opens up lanes for Cat to work. He's the equilibrium. And that's what makes this team dangerous. In Brown's world, players like Mikal Bridges becomes the gears that make the whole machine hum. You can build rotations around him. You can switch coverages in mid-game because of him. You can experiment offensively because you trust his instincts. That's the value that don't show up in box scores. That's championship DNA value. Now the defense is on point, but everybody's wondering how the offense is going to look. You're going to see Mikal all over the floor. Some nights, spot up corner sniper. Other nights, he's going to be the secondary playmaker. And some nights, isolation counter. When defense is overload on Brunson. Mike Brown loves cross-matching, I noticed, and staggered sets. You'll see Mikal get the ball on the wing with a clear side. Brunson off-ball running misdirection. They're going to use him like the Warriors used Clay and Harrison Barnes back in the day. Movement-based scoring, off-ball gravity, quick trigger confidence. But here's the key. Browns' offense flows through rhythm, not hierarchy. That means if Mikal's hot, he gonna keep touching it. Pause. If the defense tilts his way, he's gonna create. No egos, just execution. And the way Brown's been talking, he expects Mikal to do a little bit of everything. Defend, slash, shoot, rotate, talk. It's a grown man's role. It's a leader's role. It's his intangibles that help him show leadership by example. Now I know Mikal ain't the loudest dude in the locker room, but leadership comes in different forms. When you practice how he practices, when you compete the way he does every possession, cats notice that. Mike Brown said it early also. He wants his best defenders to set the tone for communication. That means Mikal's going to be the voice on defense, calling switches, helping rookies find their spots. We got a lot of young players who are going to get minutes. You can already see it. His presence makes the whole unit calmer. And that rubs off, especially on the road when the crowd's wilding out and shots ain't falling. Teams need that anchor energy, and that's what Mikal is going to bring. And offensively, he's the same thing. He ain't trying to take 25 shots. He's just trying to take the right ones. You mix that with Brunson's control, Clarkson's spark, Cat's inside-outside versatility, you got a team that can hit you in waves. That's what we're looking for this season. The numbers are going to follow, but we need that. It ain't even a type of lie. It ain't even that type to live in the stats, but numbers tell stories too. If Mikal averages 19 to 21 points, about 5 rebounds, 3 assists, nearly 40% from 3, that's not just efficiency, that's impact. That's the line of a player who dictates outcomes without hogging touches. And that's exactly what Brown values, winning plays. If you watch his Kings or Warriors teams, the MVPs weren't just the top scorers. They were the connectors who made the whole team hum. It has to be a culture shift. We got to give love to the bigger picture too. This Knicks team ain't just about stars. We're building a culture, baby. From Brunson's leadership to Hart's grit, to OG's calm, to Mikal's consistency, there's a trust that ain't been here in years. It's here now. Mike Brown walked into a room full of hungry, mature hoopers. That's rare in New York. Usually we got one star, couple of projects, and chaos. Tibbs helped heal that, but now we got chemistry. And Bridges, he's one of the faces of that. Not flashy, not loud, just efficient and relentless. That's what New York basketball's supposed to be like. So this is why I think this is the year that he breaks through. When I look at this season, I see more than just wins and losses. I see evolution. I see Mikal finally in the system, comfortable, confident, that matches who he is as a player and a person. Being a smart player, being a disciplined player, versatile, unselfish, but ready to strike when the lights turn red. He ain't playing in someone else's shadow no more. Everybody's on the even playing field with the coach. He ain't trying to fit in. He's trying to stand out the right way, but by doing everything that the game demands and then some. You can feel it in how he talks now. He's more confident. He's more grounded. You can feel it in how Brown describes him, that belief. You can tell they've had side conversations. And when a head coach like Mike Brown believes in your versatility, your IQ, your energy, that's when the game starts to slow down for you. That's when you ascend. The Garden's going to feel it this year. The crowd that once chanted for role players and grinders is going to start chanting for Mikal like he's homegrown. Because in a way, he is. He's everything this city loves. Hard-nosed, efficient, unselfish, and he's fearless. So yeah, go ahead and mark it down now. This is the year Mikal Bridges breaks through, not just as a defender, not just as a role player, but as a weapon for the New York Knicks. A problem on both ends. Wingstop is for real. A symbol of how our culture has come up. He's going to guard your best guy. He's going to hit the biggest shots. And overall, he's going to have that killer grin like he knew the outcome before the tip-off. That's what we need from all our players. This is championship contention. And when MSG starts to hit that fever pitch, when the lights dim and the cameras pan to Mikal standing tall next to Brunson, the whole city gonna know it too. The Knicks, we got another one. And you can actually say he's earned every bit of it. What say you? Keep this in mind. Same thing applies to life that applies to our team. If there is no struggle, there's no progress. But also remember this, whether it's out there in the real world, ouch, or here in these YouTube streets, Here at Knicks Deli, baby, everybody eats. Oh, shit.